Hey guys, it's Dom and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I typically make bookish content, travel content, and miscellaneous collection content. And today's video is going to be bookish content because I am doing my July wrap-up and a somewhat August TBR. I don't really know what's going on for August. We'll get there. So it's kind of been a hot minute. I did not realize my last video went up 2 weeks ago. But in my defense, I was working on another video. I was going to make a reading rush vlog. So shit went down when it came to the reading rush. And I want to talk about that when I get to that part of my wrap up. To make a long story short before we get there, I did not like how it was being held. So I held off on the vlog. I felt kind of icky posting it. And I'm not judging you if you made your vlog, because I know everyone worked really hard on the content they were creating during that week. In the meantime, not a lot went on. I just read some books. My obsession with Avatar: The Last Airbender is still alive and well. After a while, I felt it declining a little, and I was like, wow, what's going to give me serotonin now? But then Netflix announced that the US Netflix is getting Legend of Korra. So I have not seen that show yet, and because of how controversial it is, I am very excited to see it. I watched all of Umbrella Academy Season 2 in a day. So that's where my life has been. I hope your July was great. July went by really fast. I read 7 books in July, which is actually a lot, but thanks to the reading rush I was able to get some done. Some of them I'm not going to go into too much detail just because I have vlogs out and I don't really want to repeat myself. But we're just going to jump right into it and then we'll get to the August TBR. So the first book I completed in July, and it seems like forever ago that I completed this, was Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. This was a reread. I am rereading The Hunger Games. I was rereading The Hunger Games so I could prepare for the prequel. I made a vlog about this, so I'm not going to get into too much detail other than it is as great as I remember it being. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. Action-packed. It made me cry. I don't remember crying during my first read of this series, but I cried reading this book. 5 out of 5 stars. Go check out my vlog and I'll link it down below, up above, wherever. Therefore, the next book I completed was Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. I binge read series. That's just how I get them done. So I also made a vlog for this one. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars, so like the lowest rating, but not bad by any means, obviously, if it's 4 out of 5. It's great in its own way, generally speaking. So first of all, I went into this book like not remember anything, but like very weirdly small details. Different than the first two. It is not action-packed, or not as action-packed I should say, not as fast-paced. In the beginning it was very slow and I was struggling a bit. And then it caught up. This book made me cry a few times too. And I think just the discussion of politics and like evil and revenge came up. I'm trying to like talk about it without spoiling. Like I want to say spoilers. After I post my like prequel video, I am going to like watch the movies and like kind of do movie commentary. I think that would be really fun. Compare it to the book. So I'm really excited to get into it. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. Definitely, although like a great rating, it's my least favorite of the trilogy. Next is a book that has been on my TBR since it fucking came out, and I finally read it. Guys, it is the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, the Hunger Games prequel. And I have thoughts. And I don't know how to talk about my thoughts without spoiling. So it's going to be very vague because I'm going to make a video dedicated to this book. I finished this book a while ago. I just couldn't get myself to actually make the video for whatever reason. So first of all, the synopsis is that this is a villain origin story. I love villain origin stories because I know like when everyone found out this was about President Snow, there was a lot of controversy. People weren't excited. I love learning why people do the things they do, especially villains, because like me personally, it's hard to believe that a person can commit such atrocities, but they do, and I want to know what led them to that. Not to excuse them, but it's just I'm so like, why? Like, I'm curious as to why would you do that, you know? This took place in a time period I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting President Snow to be so young. So he's 18 in this, and it's while he's in some like academy, so like a very prestigious high school in the capital. And it's the 10th Hunger Games, and because it's only the 10th, it's dramatically different than what we see in the original trilogy because they're still trying to get used to it. So around this time, people in the capital are still very uncomfortable due to the dark days. So it's actually not required viewing, and they don't have mentors yet. So Snow and all his classmates are mentors for these tributes, and the head game maker is trying to find ways to get people excited about it. So that's basically what it is. When I first closed the book, I genuinely didn't know if I liked it or if I disliked it. So I gave it 3 out of 5 stars because that's usually like my average rating for books like that, because like I didn't hate it, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't think it was great. And it's like I didn't like it, but I did. We got so much more information, and it's like I don't know if Suzanne Collins ever had this book planned, because you know how authors like do that sometimes where they're like, they create a series and then like years later they're like, oh, here's this companion, prequel, whatever. Of course I've always planned on doing this, and then, you know, the whole like book community's like, did you really? So I don't know if she always had this planned or if this was a spur of the moment, but even if it was a spur of the moment book, she did a really good job at keeping information consistent. Suzanne Collins dropped a lot of Easter eggs, and for all we know, that's all they are. They're just nods to the original trilogy. But my overactive imagination says otherwise. Like I think she's dropping hints, and I love overthinking things. I love creating fan theories. She provides the information for that, you know? And I just go with it. That is a very long-winded explanation for a book without actually explaining anything. I'm realizing now, like, thinking back at it, like, wow, I said a lot about this book without actually saying anything. So look forward to, like, its own video. Even that one's gonna be a mess. It'll be, like, spoiler-free, but also, like, spoilery. It's gonna be a hot mess. Okay, one thing I will say, I loved all the songs in this. I don't know how they're supposed to sound, except for 2 of them. This book also made me realize that, what's it called? Oh My Darling Clementine is actually a really, really depressing song. I did not know that. So let's talk about the reading rush, because the next 4-ish books, yes, the next 4-ish books I read were for the reading rush. My opinions on that, I have a lot to say, and it's going to be kind of messy. So, first of all, they announced it on Juneteenth. And then, but I'm filming this as I've already seen their apology, and their excuse is that they're Canadian and not American, so they don't know the significance. And like, and you know what, as someone who lives in the north of the United States, I didn't know what Juneteenth was until college, because we're not taught about it. Like through Twitter discourse, I'm learning that it's taught in the South, but it's not taught in the North, because I saw some other people in Chicago saying like they didn't know. So I didn't know what it was until college. So like, not being American, I get it, but it was all over social media. So it's like, really? And then you see all these people from Canada saying like, I'm Canadian and I knew this, and or like people from the UK, people from all over Europe, people from Asia saying it, that they knew it happened. So it's like, I can't take that excuse. It's not my place to take that excuse because I am not black. But it's like, really, you actually like use that excuse. Then, the one that really like turned me off, that made me really uncomfortable, was the whole group book thing. So, the group book was Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. When I went on Twitter later that day, it was a wild discourse about what happened, and they really had a live show for this book and laughed that they didn't finish it. First of all, why are you not prioritizing a group book for your own readathon? Because it's not like they didn't read any books during this readathon. Like, they chose to read other things. I don't know, like if I was hosting a readathon and I had a group book, I would prioritize the group book. Like, I would make sure that's the first thing I read, so that it's for sure finished by the time there's that supposed live show. And then not only that, but they were using the book as a way to uplift black voices, which, like, great, but would have been better if you read the fucking book so you could talk about it in your live show and not laugh about the fact you didn't finish it. I don't get it at all. And then the apology made me really uncomfortable, because they didn't apologize, honestly. The other thing I want to mention is that, and I'm like part of this group, I'm like one of these people, I was scrolling through Twitter and so many of us, including myself, didn't even know there was a group book. I had no idea there was a group book until, you know, after they laughed about not finishing it. Part of that is on me for not doing my own research, but like I don't remember any advertisement for it. I didn't even know they were gonna have like a live show. So that's why when they initially went live, I was like, what's going on? So you want to uplift black voices, but then you don't read the book, and you laugh about it, and then you don't advertise it? I don't get it. And the apology really, really sucked. They didn't really take blame for anything they did, and it made me very uncomfortable that everyone, not everyone, but like a lot of people in the replies were accepting of an apology that wasn't for them. I don't know, the whole situation just makes me uncomfortable. So that's why I just couldn't post my vlog with like a good conscience. I don't know, it feels like they're not trying, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And on that note, we can talk about the books I read. So the first book I read for the reading rush was Poison Apples, Poems for You, My Pretty by Christine Hepperman. So this is just a poetry book, and I read it really fast because this was for the outside challenge, and I'm like, I am not sitting in Chicago weather that's like 85 degrees with humidity, making it 100. I gave it 3.75 out of 5 stars. So what this book did was she took real life issues and twisted them into like fairy tale themed poems, and I like envy that she was able to do that so well. I don't know how to describe in words how well it worked. And I like her use of metaphors, because one of the things I have about like old poetry, you know, the poetry we all have to study in school, I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Like, they make the metaphors so complicated that when the teacher says shit and I'm like, how do you know that that's what they mean? I don't get it. But she was able to do it in a way where she did not explicitly say what the metaphor was supposed to represent, but I could still understand it. So that's nice. So I didn't feel so stupid while reading this book. And yo, this really threw me back to high school. Like, not like late high school, but more so like 8th grade and then freshman year of high school, when everything to me was like r/deep. Do you guys remember that dude? Like, his name was like Brandon Cyrus, and he would not tweet, it was like Facebook. He would post like the stupidest shit. Not in like retrospect, it's so stupid. But you know the whole like she believed he lied bullcrap? Like, yeah, now that's stupid. But when I was younger, I was like, oh my god, so emotional. So like that's what some of these poems remind me of. And I mean, they're still good, but it just still like threw me back like that. And I probably would have enjoyed this collection a lot more if I was that age. I really like the last poem because of the tone, because it's supposed to be like a dark tone of girls, young teenage girls struggling, which, by the way, there is a trigger warning. There's a lot of poems dealing with eating disorders, so if that's a trigger, I would avoid this book, because some of it's subtle, but then there's a lot of poems that are very explicit about it, and it could be a little rough. But I really like the last one because it was a very lighthearted note. It was very happy. It reminded me of like a 1980s John Hughes movie. They all have that moment in time that we wish ourselves had in our lives. Like, sometimes I wish my life was a 1980s coming of age movie, because they make me feel good. They make me feel happy. I can watch John Hughes movies over and over again. And that's what the last poem reminded me of. It was a good way to end a depressing collection with a happy note. So the next book I read is Basil of Baker Street by Eve Titus, and this was for the challenge where you've seen the movie already, so read the book it's based off of. This is what the Disney movie The Great Mouse Detective is based off of. I saw that movie years ago. I don't actually like remember it, but whatever, I still counted it. Wow. I still counted it. It's about a little mouse who lives in Sherlock Holmes' basement, and Sherlock Holmes is his idol. He wants to be like Sherlock Holmes. He's the main detective of his little mouse town. Twins go missing, so he has to find them with his friend named Dr. Dawson, which I think is really cute. But in the end, I gave this book like 2.5 out of 2.70, or like 2.75 stars out of 5. Like, it was really cute, and I enjoyed the vibes, and I enjoyed the nods to Holmes himself. I thought that was really cute. It just suffered from telling more than showing, and everything just came way too easily to Basil and Dawson. Of course, that could be attributed to the fact that this book is for children and not for people in their 20s. Like, I wanted them to struggle. I wanted to see more of Basil's thought process, not just everything coming way too easily. He reads people too easily, and it just all worked in his favor, and and the ending put me off for whatever reason. I don't have a valid reason for why it put me off. I just didn't enjoy it. The artwork, though, was great. Next, Tokyo Ghoul Volume 13. You guys, 4.5 out of 5 stars, or 4.75. I can't really decide, but this is the second to last book of the whole series, and ooh, what a fucking page turner. I read this one so fast. And it's right when the ghouls and CCG are about to have like a little standoff, like a war basically. And we got to see the feelings of both sides, so I was like up in my feelings, tears. I can't get over, I want to say so much, but it's the 13th in the series, so I can't talk about it. But ooh, I thought one of my ships was gonna set sail. It sunk really fucking fast. Ooh, but what a fucking tease. And then the clash begins, and everyone has an inner monologue. And I love everyone. I'm so scared for the last volume. I'm so scared it's gonna disappoint, and that my main ship, I have 2 ships. The one that sunk is ship number 2, but my main ship, if it doesn't set sail, I'm gonna be pissed. Do not tell me if you guys know what happens between Toka and Kaneki, do not tell me, because that is a spoiler, and I want to find out for myself, even if it's really bad, but, I need to find this. I can't find the sequel series, like, anywhere, but I need to find it, because I, like, want to move on. I don't know if Tokyo Ghoul Volume 14 is bad, but I want to move on right away. Because I need answers. So the last book I read in July, like I literally finished this July 31st, was Eliza and Her Monsters by Francesca Zappia. About this girl who writes the most popular webcomic series on the internet, and she hates school, but no one knows that she writes monstrosity, and you know, she's just chilling, not having a good time. New kid comes in, turns out he's the #1 fanfiction writer of this series, and then like it's their journey from there after they get to know each other. But he does not know she is the author of Mantra C. He doesn't know. Rainmaker does not know she is Lady Constellation. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. I have not enjoyed a YA contemporary since high school the way I have enjoyed this one. It made me feel things, and I could not stop smiling by how cute this was. So I just know young Dom would relate to Eliza like 100%, and I think that's why I like this book so much. And I wish it came out while I was in high school, because I think this is the type of book I would have needed to read. Granted, there were a few scenes where Eliza was talking to her mom where I was kind of like, okay, maybe you could be like a little nicer to her, she has a point. But that was just a sign that I'm growing up, the fact that I'm thinking that, because obviously you're supposed to be on Eliza's side. And then Wallace is he's such a sweet boy. Well, he did something that really pissed me off, like, later in the book, though, and I was so scared. But, you know, he redeemed himself, and it's okay. Despite Eliza hating her high school experience, it reminded me of mine, and that sometimes I do miss it. So I actually genuinely enjoyed my high school experience. I didn't hate myself. I didn't think it was the greatest 4 years of my life by any means. But I didn't hate it. I genuinely enjoyed it. We did some really cool stuff. You cannot pay me to repeat those 4 years, but you know, sometimes I get nostalgic, and this book made me so nostalgic. She was describing Spirit Week, and I had a throwback to senior year. Oh my god, I remember we had Toga Tuesday, we had like, I think it was like Retro Day, and the only thing I could think of was like 80s workout, so I had to make a homemade costume for that. And she was describing like Spirit Day, and Spirit Day is when you wear the school colors. And ooh, we go all out at my school. At first I thought she like went to my school, because that's how like weirdly similar it was, because she said, oh, she went to a big school, her colors were gold. I went to my graduating class was 1,100 alone. Just my graduating class alone. I think the school in general is 5,000. So I went to a huge school, and one of our colors was gold. I remember Spirit Day wearing my gold sock. I had 1 gold sock, 1 green sock, and then I had black pants. Usually I wore a green shirt, but because it was senior year, seniors had their own shirt, and then we had face paint. I had a bandana that said Seniors 1-5. I sprayed my hair green. We got all out. Another thing I was reminded, this is kind of like, I feel bad for being like so happy about this since Eliza just hated high school so much, but something we would do during passing period is scream in the hall like your year and then seniors. So I was class of 2015, so we would scream 1-5 seniors all throughout the passing period. We had a parade around the school just screaming and cheering, and it was really fun. And then there was like the senior section during the football game. What a throwback. So I'm talking about my own experience now. I'm not even talking about this book, but it just made me really happy for those times. And like, despite the typical fucking teenage drama we all go through, there were some good things that happened in high school. I don't know, like I remember looking forward to homecoming games, and like I miss it. I miss looking forward to prom. Something I missed that this book reminded me of. She didn't do this a lot with Wallace, but again, I was reminded of the little things. Before class started, we would be at our lockers just sitting on the hallway floor talking. And I miss that. And I miss passing notes with my friends. I wrote on Goodreads. It made me feel a sense of nostalgia that makes me feel sad that I'm not a main character in a coming of age story. So again, with this John Hughes nonsense. Like I want to be in a John Hughes movie. But going back to the book now, after fangirling about high school for whatever reason, I don't know, I have no words to describe how much I love this book, and I'm kind of pissed that it's a library book and not a physical copy that I own, because I need this in my library, I need this in my personal library. I think one of the reasons I relate to Eliza is because I wasn't as introverted as she is. Like, one of the things is that she doesn't have friends from her school. First of all, her two friends are named Emmy and Max, which I'm pretty sure the kids in Dragon Tales. She only has two friends that are online. And like, so I wasn't that introverted. Like, I had my group of friends in high school. I was more introverted than they really want you to be, because you know, they all say like, oh, join a club, do this and that in high school. I wasn't about that. I mean, I didn't go straight home every day, but like, I didn't want to join clubs. I had not severe social anxiety, but like the clubs I tried joining, I didn't feel at home in. I don't regret not joining clubs and stuff in high school, but like I remember when I graduated, it was the summer between high school and college, and I remember telling myself like, you need to do shit in college, like you need to break out of your shell, which I did. So I'm proud of myself. To make a long story short, too long didn't watch. High school me needed Eliza. I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I read the book now. I mean, I had no choice because it wasn't out while I was in high school, but I wish it was. So August TBR, I don't know how long this is going to be. I mean, I have all the time on my hands because I'm still looking for jobs. My field is not doing well during the job application process, but whatever. And my birthday is this month, August 23rd. I am turning 23. There's 3 books on here for sure, and the rest we'll just see what happens. The first one being The Thorn Birds by Colleen McCullough. I'm 20 pages in already. I started today on August 1st. I still don't know what this is about because I read the synopsis like 20 times on Goodreads, and there's just so much information to take in that I don't know. Chapter 1 takes place in 1915 New Zealand, and it is very obviously a product of its time, and I have to remind myself that constantly because there was already a line that made me very uncomfortable. But my cousin really wants me to read this because this is one of her favorite books of all time. This is her copy from the 80s. The front cover itself is hanging on by literally scotch tape, so I'm scared to open the book. I'm literally reading it like this because I'm scared to cause more damage. But this has been in my possession since early June. I'm sure she wants it back, so I need to get this done so I can give her my final thoughts. Tokyo Ghoul Volume 14 by Sugi Ishida. I want to get to this, and as I said, I think I talked about this a great deal in my wrap-up, so I don't want to get into too much detail, but like, if it disappoints, I'm gonna be fucking pissed. Next, what I'm excited for. Because Midnight Sun is coming out, I want to reread the Twilight series. I have not read this since I was 12 years old, and in retrospect, this was my first time reading it. Would I like it now? Probably not, especially because of what we all know is in this book. A lot of problematic things, not only towards relationships, but like Stephenie Meyer really misrepresented the Native American tribe that is included in this book, so I will be leaving a link down below where you can donate to them, and I will be including that link in all my vlogs that I do for this series because I want to do what I did for the Hunger Games, where I vlog each time I reread a Twilight book, maybe including The Second Life of Bree Tanner, and maybe, strong maybe, including the illustrated guide, because I want to prepare myself for Midnight Sun, and I've been wanting to reread these, and I'm really tempted to read, because I've never read it before, Life and Death, the gender bent one, so I will be essentially reading Twilight like 3 times this year, but like, whatever. Fun time. So, why not? I don't know how many of these books I will get through in August. I could probably, like, the font is a lot bigger than I remember, and I remember them being quick reads even when I was 12, so I could probably finish it faster than I like making this out to be. I want to see how many things went over my head as a kid. For example, I will fully admit that the misrepresentation of the Native American tribe went over my head as a kid. For example, at one point in the series, I don't know when, but at one point in the series, I think it's Alice actually. It's one of the, no, maybe Rosalie. One of the vampires calls Jacob, like, you mangy dog, being 12. I was like, oh, it's because he turns into a werewolf. I get it. But, like, that's really offensive to the actual tribe. I know that now, went over my head as a 12-year-old. So, I'm curious to see if there's more of that. How much of the toxic relationship went over my head? 12-year-old Dom, I don't know what she saw in this, but Alice and Jasper, maybe that's what I saw in it, because I still ship Alice and Jasper with all my heart. I wish it was them getting their own book. I wish it was Rosalie and Emmett, even Carlisle and Esme. You know what, no, never mind. I was going to say Jacob, but like, he's a little, you know, am I going to have fun? Is this going to be like the YA trash I need in my life? Maybe. Am I going to have fun with it? Oh yes. I'm gonna have so much fun revisiting the love of my life, Jasper, and my best friend, Alice. Maybe that's why I want to reread it. I remember being 12 and wanting to be Alice's friend so bad, and I wanted a nice, calm man like Jasper. We let him be a Confederate soldier, though, that I'm remembering, because I'm also watching Kenny JD's videos of her rewatching the movies, and I was like, holy shit, Jasper Hale's was a Confederate soldier. And it was never expressed whether or not he believed with those ideals, and whether or not he still does. Guess we'll find out. So that is it. That is all I have planned for August. This is a very long video, and it is 4:30 in the morning. I spent way too long filming this and talking about a lot, but I wanted to catch up with everyone. It's gonna be a good time. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. And that's really all I have to say, other than stay safe, especially if you're in America, because we got a lot of shit going. If TikTok was your thing, we might have to say goodbye to it, because wow, a lot's going on there. And wear a mask and social distance. And I'm going to go to bed now because I'm very, very tired and I'm forcing the words out. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Ciao a tutti!